In the airways, taking the nation. Score all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
All right. Right now, it is me, your boy Jay Mclovin, and my good friend, the extremely knowledgeable Dodgers fan, of course. What better show than to have Dodgers, Astros, and if Frankie was here, it would be the Yankees representation. Have all three in one show. Frankie, I don't know what Frankie's doing. I don't know if he's in hiding or whatever, but either way, we got Jonathan Mathis. What's up, my brother?
What's going on, my brother, man? It's good to be on the show. You know, I love this show. Unscripted, man. You do a great job putting on this show. It's well organized. You know, you're very informative, very entertaining. I love to be on this show. It's great to be back on, my friend.
Hey, I appreciate that. And as you know, right now, if you know today, the Yankees don't play until 7 o'clock. They play the Orioles. We'll see what happens. Jonathan. The Reds went in there. They took 2 out of 3. Can the Orioles get 1 out of 2? I'm just asking a question. By the way, Sandro Arroyo Sanchez. What is up, brother? Jonathan, can they get 1 out of 2? Can we just get 1, John?
The Orioles, they better hope to get 1 out of 2. I mean, if you can't win the series, the only thing you can do really is finish strong, right? So hopefully you get that third win and come away with something and not nothing. I don't know. It seems like the Orioles kind of cooled off. You know, it's as if they need a recharge or something, even though they're coming out of the All-Star break. And, you know, this was a concern for me for a lot of these teams coming out of All-Star break. The teams that went on a winning streak, they kind of cooled down some. You're seeing it with the Mariners, too. You're seeing it with the Mariners as well. Now you're seeing it with the Orioles. Maybe they could find some life again. Maybe they can recapture some of that magic that they had going into this All-Star break. But I don't know. The Reds, they look like they got this series, you know, and things are going to their advantage. So I don't know. Maybe the Orioles can get that one game. We'll see.
You know, and the interesting thing about it is I might be wrong on this. I believe the Dodgers currently, if the Yankees win, Dodgers win. You know, if that is what happens, I think you guys are still 1 game back of the Yankees. Am I correct? I know the Astros are 2 games back.
I believe we are still
a game or a game and a half.
We're a game or a game and a half back, but hey, we're right there. We're right there.
We're absolutely right there. We're absolutely unequivocally right there.
Oh, no question about it, man. The Dodgers, man, they lead in so many major statistical categories. It's an amazing team. I think the only struggle that the Dodgers really have is that back end of their bullpen with Craig Kimbrell. I think if he makes the adjustments necessary, because you're seeing better command on his fastball, but if he makes those adjustments, this team it comes with the complete package, you know. Right. But it's him that's a worry right now. Like, you never know which Craig Kimbrell you're gonna get.
And here's the thing I have with that. Before I get into the Astros game that we had today with the Mariners, we're gonna get that in here in a second. But I do want to talk about what Sanders talking about. Sanders saying that right now he said the Yankees will get back to the way they were playing. You know, I'm assuming what he said. You know, at the beginning of the season. But my problem with that and why Sanders I think could be wrong. It's for a couple of reasons. Number one, Severino's on a 15-day DL. He's got that lat issue. We don't know, how healthy Severino's going to be throughout the entire series because we know that they just lost one of their relievers, one of their big-time relievers in King for the season. So King is done. He's out of there. Severino's on a 15-day deal. We don't know we don't know the full history of that health because lat strains, things like that. You don't know how long that's going to linger for. So my thing is this. The Astros already, outweigh them on pitching to begin with. So the only thing they really had, the Yankees really got going for themselves, is about a 246 batting average versus Houston's 239. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is just against Houston. If you go up against, like the Dodgers team, which has great pitching, great hitting, I think it's going to be very difficult. And the point I'm trying to make is to win 65 to 70 games out of 90, given their track history of what they're going into that with, given that, their history of health issues and things of that nature. I'm not going to say they're not going to win 60, 50, whatever, but I got to be honest with you, Jonathan, hey, call me crazy, but I'm not going to be surprised if either Dodgers or Houston, you can never change them out in one or two. I don't care how you do it. But my point is, I had a feeling that Yankees come at the season end are going to be in third place.
Well, that's the thing, Jay, too. A team that usually get off to a hot start can't sustain that going into the second half of the season. It's rarely sustainable, and we see this all the time in baseball because baseball is a game of numbers, right? But it's also a funny game. It's weird, a few months you're hot, and then the next couple of months you might cool off or something. And the Yankees, it seems like some of those injuries are starting to pile up, especially in that pitching department of theirs. But I think the Yankees will be fine. I think, at the end of the day, seeding really doesn't matter unless you're serious about getting home field advantage. And like I always say, it's not how you play. It's not where you play, it's how you play. But I think the Yankees will still be fine. But the Yankees are a team that's more interested in outslugging you than they are, out pitching you. But pitching is vital in the postseason. You don't win 11 games in October without solid pitching. You need your pitching to be up to par. You need your pitching to be solid. You need those guys to be dominant. And, if the Yankees can't get that from their starting rotation and their bullpen, there's going to be many long nights in October. They could get away with this type of baseball right now. They can outslug you with Stanton and Judge. That's fine and dandy. But when the postseason comes, you better be able to pitch, and you better let your pitching do the talking for you.
I definitely agree with everything you're saying. First of all, I want to correct something. And Jonathan, if I'm speaking incorrectly, I know you'll fact check me on that. But Sanders saying that the AL gives the winner of the All-Star game gives you home field advantage in the World Series. That's not true. Whoever has the best record in the World Series has a home field advantage. Am I right or wrong on that? I'm pretty sure I'm right. Am I right on that, Jonathan?
I believe that's how it works.
Because I know for a fact Major League Baseball is not going to let the fans vote for those players if that was on the line. Right.
It used to be that the All-Star game, whoever won the All-Star game would get home field advantage. So if the AL won, for example, the American League team, that the team that represents the American League will get home field advantage. Vice versa, the team, if the team wins the NL, if they would get home field advantage. But That's not the case anymore. They removed that from the All-Star game. So I believe it's the team with the better record. Yes, if I'm correct.
Yeah. No, I got it right here. So what determines home field advantage in the World Series? So who has the home field advantage this year? MLB will designate, let's see, which is the two higher? Yeah. MLB will let's see, whichever of the two teams had the higher winning percentage during the regular season has earned the right to host the first two and the final two of the World Series. So again, it goes by record, not by the All-Star game. And I believe Jonathan is right. It probably at one time did go by the All-Star game, but I think once they let fans kind of have more interaction with that, they took it away, and rightfully so. They gave it to, the way it should be. Whoever has the best record in the World Series, well, then you get home field advantage, and that's just the way that works. So then we kind of move into the Astros real quick. Today, they obviously they just took the Mariners series. They do have one more game with Seattle, But they won the first 2 games coming out the blocks against Seattle after that sweep of the Yankees. So, Mickey Delaney, I'm sorry, like I said again, I know it's hard to have empty pockets and have the next string looking up in the standings. But at the end of the day, my question is this. To what Jonathan was saying a second ago about, things that come into play when you're looking at the World Series, I think it's equal weight. It's equal weight with, number one, who has home field advantage, because let's be honest, when you're in your stands, when you're in your environment, when you're feeding on the energy, that will affect your play. It will affect your momentum. It will affect your psyche. There's a lot of things that the crowd interaction can give you. However, in a comma, to Jonathan's point as well, motivation, momentum, having everything dialed in, that also comes into play. So home field advantage plus momentum plus, being focused on what you want. All 3 of those things come into play when it takes to win a World Series. So, hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're gonna go up against. When I look at the Astros, I look at okay, I don't care if I come in first or second so much in the AL side of it, because I feel like the Astros have played the Yankees, well at home and on away at Yankee Stadium. So I'm pretty sure, yes, home field will play a part to the Yankees, but I feel like the Astros are good enough, and I think that they are confident enough that they can play well, at their stadium as well as ours. I think for me, I got a feeling it's either going to be the Dodgers. I think Atlanta could creep into the NL, things like that. I really want the home field advantage more. Not that I don't want the home field advantage at the AL as well, but I really am concerned more about the Dodgers. I want the AL to have the home field advantage at that World Series, because the Dodgers are incredibly tough once you get them at Dodger Stadium, because and like it is, it's a small park, and they play well there, Jonathan.
Yes, the Dodgers do play well at home. The Dodgers can light it up on the road too. We've seen it, but you're right. They play more consistent baseball at home. And your Astros, man, they're just doing it right now. They look great. They look like a team to beat. They look like one of the most complete teams in baseball. And I can't say enough about Justin Verlander. It seems like this guy gets better with age.
It really does. Honestly, it really does.
This guy is amazing, and he is simply incredible to watch. He was dominant on the mound today, and over his past 5 starts, Verlander is 5-0 with a 0.97 ERA. How stunning is that? Right. And he has allowed just 3 earned runs in 34 innings, pitched with 36 strikeouts and 6 walks. That's incredible stuff. I mean, the dude has nasty stuff. It's electric. He looks like the pitcher of old. This is a guy who missed the season and has come back stronger than ever. And today he was just simply remarkable. Pitched 7 innings, allowing 1 run on 4 hits with 2 walks and 9 strikeouts to improve to 13-3 on the season. That tells you a lot about a man that is simply just fantastic, and his numbers are off the chart. It really is. And to go into Seattle and put on a performance like that, and there was even a moment, I believe it was the 7th inning, because I watched the game, and the bases were loaded. Verlander got into a bases loaded situation
and got him out.
Got himself out of the bases loaded jam. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just amazing. Absolutely. And then again, you can't say enough about the Astros and their timely hitting. You see it all the time, constantly. The timely hitting, they do enough to get on base, to make something happen when they're on base, and they're really, really tough to beat when they have runners in scoring position. When they have runners in scoring position, they do a good job at driving them home. And that's what you've been seeing from the Astros all season long. It's been a constant theme with this Astros team.
And the biggest thing there, too, is what really was surprising to me was the fact that, Alvarez has probably been out week and a half, almost 2 weeks worth of games. I think it was a week right before the All-Star game, and then he came back. I think it was he came back during the Yankees series, so He was out rough, but he was facing no live hitting. He hadn't picked up the bat since he went down about a week or so ahead, and he just comes out game one and cracks a home run right off the rip, gets 2 RBIs right off the rip. I mean, just picks up where he left off. I mean, his batting average right now is around 311. He's leading in on-base percentage, slugging percentage. I mean, all your major categories that you look for, Alvarez, is the guy that's leading that right now. And to come off of that, after not taking any kind of hitting for a hot minute and not being touching the bat, I mean, it's incredible. I like what Alvarez is doing. I hope he keeps up that trend. But I also like, a lot of other things. Like you said, Verlander. I mean, damn, 39 years old, and he picked up another 9. He's averaging 9 to 10 strikeouts every single game. Just to me, incredible. He's 13-3. There's no way that's gonna. The way he's playing, as long as he stays healthy, coming off Tommy John, and then in this Cy Young conversation, if not the lead guy in the Cy Young, it's just stupid to me. I don't know where this guy. I don't know what surgeon he used, but it was the best one because the guy, like you said, has found the fountain of youth. I think he has done 3-4 more years of competitive pitching before he's done. But there's no way he doesn't get Cy Young this year, Jonathan. No way.
No, you know what? He's putting up numbers, and I mean, you know what? He's making a case, to be this year's Cy Young Award winner. And I think anything less than that would be blasphemous, to say the least. This guy is putting together one of those phenomenal seasons. And I mean, again, it's just amazing to see how good of a pitcher Justin Verlander is and how much he means to that organization. Like, he's your perennial ace. He is your superstar pitcher, and it's just amazing to see. Veteran, he's been doing it for a very, very long time. The Astros, he gets good run support from the batters, those guys behind him. And, it's just fun to watch, really.
The interesting thing for me is, Jonathan, there's a couple of things. Number one, Brantley hasn't even come back from shoulder surgery. We've been doing this, without Brantley. If you know how important Brantley is to the Astros, the guy, he's normally about a 280 to 300 batting average guy. So Brantley is a big part, of our offense, what we do on offense. And the fact that we haven't had him in the lineup, and we're doing as well as what we're doing without him is just remarkable. So I feel like, it's great for him, great for the organization, because once he does come back, he's not going to have to rush. He's not going to have to say, oh, my God, I've got to get back to, help this team out. He can take his time. He can come back when he needs to. And I think it's going to make for a better transition when he does come back into the game for him to be better ready. But, again, so we haven't got Brantley back. I expect Brantley back within the next 4 weeks. I think Brantley will be back on the lineup. But also, your guy, the one I know you hate, which I don't know why you hate him. Maybe you have to explain that to me. But we got Lance McCullers. I guarantee you, 4 weeks, Lance McCullers will be back in our lineup. And I guarantee you, he'll average you under 3.0 on the ERA side of life. He may be 250, 260, but he'll be in that. And that's going to be our next ace up in the hole. I think we're going to look at Verlander, McCullers, Javier, and then probably Valdez. And it may be, it could be an assortment, but I think those are going to be your 4 guys. And then I think Urquidy, I think, is bumped down into the rotation.
Well, let me put my unbiased cap on because Jay, there's a time and place for everything, and we're talking sports. So it's not time to be a fan here. It's time to keep it real. And let me tell you something about Lance McConnell, man. He is huge to that rotation. He plays a pivotal part in that rotation. And when he's in that rotation shines. It is a completely different team when he's in that rotation. So getting him back will be a huge plus for them. It gives them another arm. It provides stability to that starting rotation. And all I got to say is watch out for the Astros.
And if I could, if I'm the Astros, if I'm, somewhere ownership level, I'm going to give up some prospects. I'm going to have to give. I know I'm going to have to give up some, and I'm okay with that. I would love to see them. They could package Lee, which is a good, MLB ready catcher. He's already shown that he can hit the ball at the MLB level. He's batting, I think, I think he's like 286, 300, somewhere in that neighborhood coming up. So I think we can package Lee maybe with another prospect, maybe, whatever, some cash or draft pick, whatever. I would love to see them put some kind of package together, ship it off, and bring in Wilson Contreras as our catcher. I think if we could get a Wilson Contreras, keep Maldonado, because, again, Maldonado is a hell of a fine game manager. He's really good, but his bat isn't as good. But if I could have him in the wings, put in a guy like Wilson Contreras to go complement with him, I mean, Wilson Contreras' bat alone would help our lineup on the hitting side of life. And I think we're ready to rock and roll. I don't think we have to make any other upgrades outside the catcher position. I think we're locked and loaded everywhere else. But Wilson Contreras would really be a highly sought-after guy for our ball club. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's more known for his bat. He's also good behind the plate, but he's more known for his bat. And, you could split time with those two. Those two can split time. And I think he would complement, how you say his name? Maldonado?
Maldonado.
Yeah, there you go. Always put his name, always mess it up. But you know who I'm talking about. But I think, Wilson Contreras will be a great bat. I think you don't need to do much at the trade deadline. I think you pretty much have a good team. You have a complete roster. You just probably need to add one more bat, and Wilson Contreras will definitely be a great bat to add to that lineup.
Jonathan, what I've learned about Unscripted and how the ears of time work and how Unscripted ties in with the group chat at Unscripted is, if you could just say that the Yankees are dog water, and just say the Yankees are dog water, and they don't deserve to be on the same field as the Dodgers, I guarantee you within 5 seconds, Frankie will pop up out of nowhere. I'm just going to put that out there.
The Yankees are toilet water.
There you go, Frankie. See if you hear that.
And they're gonna go down to the Dodgers, baby. Nah.
Woo! Of course, you gotta get past the Astros first. But I'm just saying, Frankie, to hear it, it has been pointed out that you're dog water and you don't deserve to be in the same playing field as either the Astros or the Dodgers, to be that matter. You're actually the equivalency of the Boston Shit Sox and Prime. So there you go. Gauntlet throwdown. We'll see if Frankie pops up at some point. In any event, we're going to get this bad boy rolling, folks. Hey, listen, we're talking all kinds of stuff today. But we are going to start off. I wish Frankie was here, but he's not here. You know what? We're going to come back. No, we're going to do this last. We're going to go in the reverse order. I'm coming back to the Astros last. We're going to do that last. We're going to do a funky red order. I do kind of want to see if Frankie will pop his little head in here for that topic. Harden's new contract with the Sixers. Contract details, 2 years, $68 million deal. Jonathan, I don't have to tell you. I know you already know this. He gave up the option or declined the 47.4 option that he had, and he went on the 2-year plan at 68. So he took a pay cut. I think he dropped from 47.4 down to $33 million for this year coming up, with the option of 35.6 next year, which I'm sure he'll probably most likely renegotiate. But in any event, he took that pay cut, signed a new contract so that they could basically, the Sixers would have flexibility to sign P.J. Tucker, Daniel House, and acquire DeAnthony Melton. Again, so that kind of puts you with the rotation of Maxey, Harden, Tucker, Harris, and then Embiid. A lot has been, I got to be honest with you, when it comes to Harden, I'm really surprised he did take that pay cut. I think it shows on his level that he does want to help the team out. I think his relationship with Daryl Morey probably also helped out that situation. But unselfishness, taking less money. What are we talking about, Jonathan?
Yeah, hey, look, like I've been saying, James Harden made a sacrifice and accepted, a pay cut. I think at this point in his career, Jay, he's more pragmatic, more serious about winning a championship as he nears the latter stages of his career. He knows he's running out of time, that his NBA career is now on borrowed time. So this is a guy who really is showing that he wants to win suddenly. I think he's showing flashes of maturity, and he's hungry for an NBA championship. So this was a very unselfish thing to do to, help your team get cap flexibility so they could sign more players. And you could try to make a run for the NBA championship because, in reality, James Harden's getting older. He's not getting any younger. It's time to really, win a championship because you're on your way out in a few more years. And, James Harden is not that same explosive player. He's a step slower, since the injury. He can't blow by defenders like he used to. He can't weave his way through traffic like he used to. He can't finish strong at the rim. This is a guy who can't knock down his shots the same way he used to. I mean, for a long time, he was, the leading scorer in the league. He was a prolific scorer. Yeah. You're not going to get that from James Harden anymore. You're not going to get the 30-plus point performances. You're going to get you might be lucky to get 20 points out of him, 15 points, 10 points out of him. But now he's got to be more of a facilitator. And I think he's willing to accept that role. I think he embraces it. I think he knows what's at stake. And I think he realized this might be his final chance to win an NBA championship.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. And the one thing about it that I want to kind of ask you about is, okay, let's look at this team for a minute. You got Embiid. Right. We know what Embiid does. I mean, for crying out loud, he's obviously MVP of the league, caliber material. You got a guy like Harden who's taking a pay cut, still has a shot. Again, I agree. It depends on how he comes into camp. If he comes into camp in shape and ready to go, then that's obviously going to be a huge deal. But Harden can still look. He's still got his step back. Harden still can do some things. So you got a really good number 2 in Harden. Then you bring in a guy like Tobias Harris, which again, Tobias Harris not dog water. He gives you good role-playing minutes at the 4 position. Then you look at a guy like Tucker. And this is what I like the most. You bring in a guy like Tucker, that junkyard dog mentality. You bring the toughness now to the Sixers that they really kind of sort of have not had. Let's just be honest. Tucker gives you that edge. He gives you that nastiness that you kind of need to propel yourself, in that level to go forward. That's what I like about Tucker. I mean, he's obviously good at the defensive end. He does a great thing. So I think with that, and then you marry that up with Maxey, come off the point or the shoot, depending on, I guess, how they run that. I'm assuming they're going to have Maxey in the point, Harden at your shooting. But again, I think this rotation, at least on paper, looks really good. Now, we know how the Sixers play. All we really did was add Tucker to the equation. But Tucker, you know what Tucker does, right? He fits in everywhere he goes. He does well everywhere he goes. So he's going to flow just nicely with Harden. As a matter of fact, he played with Harden, so these guys are reunited. So they already have that chemistry.
Well, you know all about P.J. Tucker because he used to play in Houston.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like about him.
That really knows him. You know him well. Look, this is a veteran who's been around the game for a very long time. He brings that championship pedigree. He's won an NBA championship. Hey, look, this guy changes your team because of his defensive presence. He's an excellent defender. He's a premier defender, and he's been doing it for a long time. And him and James Harden have a great relationship. Daryl Morey knows him really well as well. So I like this pickup. I think it works wonders for this Sixers team. I think it gives them more defense. He brings stability to the defensive side of the basketball. So I like this move. I think it was great. It goes back to James Harden doing the right thing so they can make sure they land this guy. And they did, and now they have a great chance.
Absolutely. I want to say hi to Freddie tuning in to us, saying it's fire. I appreciate your support and love, brother. That is our CEO, our godfather of all things encompassing. So appreciate you, bro. Jonathan, let me ask you a question. If you had to look at the East right now, going into it, and we put a little Nostradamus hats on, and we want to predict the future, coming into next season, going into the playoffs for next year, where would you project the Sixers to be with the current rotation they have? Are we looking at a 1 seed, a 4 seed, a 6 seed? What are we looking at?
Oh, I'm gonna just start with my top three, okay?
That's fine.
One will be the Milwaukee Bucks. I still have them at the top. I think they're that damn good with Giannis, in their lineup. Two, I'm gonna stay with the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler is good until they get to the playoffs, and then he's battered, he's bruised, he's exhausted. He can't play anymore. And then I guess number three, I would put the Sixers.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, and I think, and Jonathan, I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. The biggest knock on the Sixers really has been injuries, right? I mean, Embiid's health, a few of the guys' health. I mean, it really seems like, that's been the biggest thing. I think if this team can stay healthy from the beginning to the end, I think they're going to have an amazing season. And I can see them, battling for that top spot, man. I mean, Embiid is no joke. I think, like I said, at every position they have a good spot. So, and let's be honest, they got Thibault, they got a couple of the guys, off their bench. I mean, this is a pretty good team. I mean, they're not shallow. I mean, they really have, I think, a good, well thought out team. Let me ask you a question though. This is a big question. So, Doc Rivers. We talk about coaches on the hot seat. They're adding Tucker. They're adding Melton, Tucker. Tucker, Melton, House. So forth. So they're putting some pieces in there to kind of complement. How much is Doc Rivers on the hot seat if it doesn't pan out?
Oh, I think his seat will be very hot if it doesn't pan out for the Sixers. Look, you have more than enough pieces now to really get over the hump. There's no excuses at this point. You got a championship roster. This team is stacked from top to bottom. And if Doc Rivers can't come through this time and lead these guys to a championship, he's definitely going to be on the hot seat, and I think he'll be out of the door. And
I think so.
I feel like that's the only thing that's holding them back, really, because I feel like Doc Rivers is that coach that can get you there, but he can't get you the championship win. Right. And we all know how his resume looks, right, in the postseason. Right. He does a good job during the regular season coaching his team, and then when his team gets to the second or first round, they collapse completely. They might take a 3-1 commanding lead in the series, and somehow, some crazy way, they blow it. They blow it. So,
I get it. I'm with you.
Doc Rivers, I think a lot of people will be paying close attention to see if Doc Rivers can finally win now that he has arguably the best team he's ever coached, really. When you look at it, this could be the best team that he's ever had. So you make it work. You inspire these guys. You motivate these guys. You do whatever you have to do as the head coach to make sure they stay together, and you make sure you put your team in the best position to win. The big question is, can he do that?
I don't think, Damien chimes in real quick before I introduce Frankie into the show. We'll talk about that in a second. I got a whole montage about Frankie. One second. Frankie, it's good to see you. Hold on, though. Damien says Doc is not the only problem, or Doc is not the only problem. The biggest problem is the Sixers problem. You know what? I don't think so. I think the Sixers are doing the right things. I think they're coming. I think Morey came in with the plan that he had with the Rockets. He's trying to put the right pieces in there. It takes a little bit of time, and you can't help last year. With the injuries that the Sixers did suffer, that way to live it. So I don't think Morey is completely the problem. I think if Morey, like I said, if they don't do anything this year, I think Doc's got to be on the hot seat, and by beyond that, I think Morey needs to step in and say, "Okay, Doc, it's time." I think Morey's going to have to make some decisions. I think Morey is a good GM. I don't think he's necessarily the problem. I think the Sixers and Morey have had more direction in him than they have in the past.
Morey has changed the culture, and he has given Doc Rivers the tools. He has given him the tools. Now it's up to Doc Rivers. Right. And now it's up to Doc Rivers to jump in the driver's seat and make sure he guides this team down the road to success And hopefully, in the end, when they get to the end of the road, they will be hoisting an NBA championship.
All right, Frankie the Yankee. Frankie, I said this to Jonathan. I said, I bet you if you just say that the Dodgers are the shit and that the Yankees are dog water, pretty much within about 5 seconds, Frank could be chiming in. Now, I was a little off. You went a little bit longer than 5 seconds. He may have gone 1 minute, but you didn't let me down, Frankie the Yankee. What's up, my brother?
What's going on, Jay? What's going on, John? How you guys doing?
What's going on?
I let my wife have a girls' night out right now, so I'm playing late. I just wanted to come in and join.
Yeah, real quick. So the thing we cover where we are, and then we're going to go back to the Astros topic, and I got a couple of things I want to talk to you about real quick. But to kind of show you where we are right now, so basically, as you know, Frankie, you know this, Harden's new contract at 2 years, $68 million. I think it averages right around 20. I think it's like $33 million for year one, 35.6 if he decides to option year two. But I think, like he's probably going to option out of that and renegotiate. But I think he did this, specifically to come out of $47.4 million to $33 million was basically so that P.J. Tucker, Daniel House, and DeAnthony Melton could be signed for them. So he basically was working with Morey, saying, "All right, Morey, I'm gonna give you some room here. Go get some guys, but we're gonna talk about this come year two, and you're gonna recompensate." So again, where do you look at it? Because right now, with their starting rotation the way it is, it would be Maxey, Harden, P.J. Tucker, Harris, and Embiid. Couple of questions I'm asking you. Number one, where do you see the Sixers, or how do you project the Sixers going into the playoffs? What seed would you give them? Jonathan had him at number 3. And number 2, how well do you think, number 2, if they don't get into the playoffs or they don't advance to the finals, is Doc Rivers' job pretty much on the hot seat and he's out the door?
I lost you a little bit in the beginning there, but I'm going to answer your 2 questions. I think that the Philadelphia 76ers are probably, and realistically, probably be the 4th, maybe even 5th seed in the playoffs. I don't think they have enough. James Harden is, regular season talent. Joel Embiid, is he going to stay healthy throughout this year? We've seen that he's really, he's a big man who likes to get injured a lot lately. So I'm sitting here thinking that they could probably be in the 4th, maybe 5th seed at the playoffs. And to answer your second question, if Doc Rivers don't make the finals, I do think he's not even going to be in the hot seat. Honestly, Jay, I think he's going to get fired straight up, and that's going to be no question asked. I think if the 76ers, to be realistic with you, they make the playoffs and they're a first-round exit or a second-round exit, don't even make it to the conference finals, Doc Rivers is going to get fired. This is his only chance, honestly, to get what he needs to get done with Philadelphia.
Absolutely, and I don't think Daryl, one thing about Daryl Morey, he's not the kind of guy that just sits around and waits. Like, he's a results-driven guy. So, again, to your point, I agree with you. Doc has been there for a hot minute now. He's got the tools, like Jonathan said, and I think if he doesn't make it work, like you said, I think Morey's looking elsewhere to make it work. So I agree with you. I think it's either finals or bust almost for Doc at this point. Real quick, Frankie, I'm going to go back one because I didn't want to talk about this until you got here. But I want to talk. Oh, no, that's the wrong one, Jay. Astros. Now listen a minute. No, hold on. Because I don't want you to think this topic is down in the Yankees. So I don't want you to get that impression.
No, I know. I read the topic. Before the show started.
And I think a lot of people know this already. And I think we've talked about this privately in chats. We've talked about this. The Astros swept the Yankees, as we know, but doesn't matter. Meaning that, okay, and Boone has come out and said, and I believe what Boone says. Because look, I'll be honest with you. Up until this series with the Mariners, we were struggling with the Mariners. Now we come out and we've already taken the series from the Mariners 2-3. So even though a team may have your number at this specific point in time, doesn't mean come October that, you know, they're still going to have your number because obviously I think people's mindsets change. I think injuries come into effect. I think momentum can change at the drop of a hat in baseball, as we know. So there's a lot of variables in baseball between now and October that by time, and look, I'm just saying, I'm Nostradamus at this point. I'm in my heart of hearts, I know it could be Yankees, Astros, ALCS, and I think we're going to see, like I've told you before, a bloodbath, and it's going to go back and forth. It's going to be a lot of emotions, and I think that whole series is going to be back and forth. However, here's the deal. This is what I think does matter. What I think does matter is where we end up. And I say that to, like I told Jonathan, I'm going to speak on both sides of my mouth for a minute. I don't think, I don't care if we get home field advantage against the Yankees at the ALCS. I really just kind of care if we get home field advantage at the World Series. Because in my opinion, unless somebody just dethrones the Dodgers, I have a strong inclination that the Dodgers will be, at the World Series. And Jonathan, for the love of Christ, I don't know why you want to see Dodgers versus Yankees, and that's no knock on the Yankees. It's more so to the fact of 2017. I don't understand why Jonathan wouldn't want the Astros versus the Dodgers so that he can have his quote-unquote revenge matchup to show who the world really is the best team. So, Jonathan, I don't understand you there, and I'll give you time to rebut that. I'm going to give you ample time to talk about that. But I want you to be thinking about that. Why would you want the Yankees when your real beef is 2017 versus the Astros? And I think that rematch would actually serve you better. But we'll talk about that here in a sec. And actually, honestly, I think for MLB, it would serve better because everyone in the world hates the Astros because of that whole thing. So everybody and their mother is going to be watching the Astros and Dodgers in the World Series. And there's no better ratings grabber than that revenge World Series. We'll talk about that in a minute. But again, Frankie, I want to be number one because, again, I do want to have home field advantage against the Yankees. But, man, what a time to be like. We got Jonathan from the Dodgers. We got Frankie from the Yankees. We got Jay from the Astros. You got 1, 2, and 3 on the Sports Podcast talking about these things. Okay, I'll say my piece. I'm going to turn it over to Frankie, and then we're going to go Jonathan. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Frankie, you got the show.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday, or 2 days ago, like Jay said, the Astros swept the Yankees first day out of the All-Star break. But I don't think it changes anything, Jay, because let's take it back to a year, right, where the Yankees dominated the Astros in the regular season the way you guys dominated us in this regular season. And what happened last year? The Astros ended up being the ones to represent the American League in the World Series. So anything can happen come playoff time because once October hits, these records don't matter. The 5-2 record you guys got on us this year in the regular season, it won't matter. It will all wipe away clean because once October comes, everyone is back to 0-0. That's what really matters. And I do honestly believe, just like Jay said, it would honestly be sweet if we get a 2017 rematch. I do question John a little bit. I don't, I've been seeing him say Astro or Dodgers, Yankees World Series as well. It really confuses me because if I was a Dodgers fan, I would want the Astros as well. And that's what Jay knows as well. I've been saying it all year long since we've been looking good and since the Astros are the second team in the AL. I've been saying, Jay, I want this 2017 rematch and I want it bad. Like I don't care. And he knows it. I don't care if if we end up which we did losing in the regular season, and I don't even care if we end up getting second place in the AL right now. All I want in return is to get that revenge tour in Houston and knock Houston out of the playoffs and actually be the one to go to the World Series and get our 2017 redemption. That's what I want.
Yeah, and again, this is Jonathan, this is no knock, and Frank, this is no knock on the Yankees. I'm just saying, look, there's not a soul in the universe that does not want to see the Astros and the ALCS with the Yankees, and then there's not a soul in the universe that doesn't want to see the Astros. We almost want to reenact the whole damn 2017 all over again. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, I gotta be look, John. okay, I don't know y'all's religious backgrounds, and I'm not here to persecute. I'm just going to tell you mine. I'm a Christian, and I believe that God does things for a reason. And I think God said, hey, look, okay, 2017 happened. I'm going to let some time go by. I'm going to let some other series happen, but we're going to come back to this. And I believe that God is lining up the Yankees to the Astros as well as the Dodgers. And I'm just saying, quote unquote, how often does this happen, Jonathan? Deja vu, how often? I'm just saying. And you want the Yankees, Jonathan? What the hell?
Not often in baseball do you see a repeat of two teams, going at it for another World Series title, But for a long time, even long before the Dodgers met the Astros in the World Series in 2017, I was calling for a Yankees-Dodgers World Series. It's East Coast versus West Coast. It just has that wonderful vibe. You got two power-hitting teams. You got the Bronx Bombers going against the
Dodgers.
the home run hitters.
No, just the Dodgers.
It's just a great storyline.
No, Jonathan. The great storyline is 2000. Jonathan, go on social media. Hold on, Jonathan Mathis. No, Jonathan, I have a task. You're going to be tasked, Jonathan. You've got a task team. As a teacher, I'm giving you a homework task. I want you to go on social media.
Uh-huh.
And I want you to say, who do y'all want more? Astros versus Dodgers or Dodgers versus the Yankees in the World Series?
I'll do that. In fact, I'll do that after this show.
Yes. And then let's just see what the world says. I'm guaranteed. Hey, listen, I've seen social media. They want to crucify the Astros. And if the Dodgers were to beat the Astros legit, whatever, non-cheating the whole night, or if the Astros were to win, non-cheating the whole night, I'm just saying, the whole sports world is going to get set on fire. I'm just saying, not that the Yankees aren't, Frankie, not that the Yankees aren't. And how old are you, Jonathan?
I mean, it might be the most watched World Series. I'm 36, turning 37 in September.
Okay, Jonathan, you got so much time left in this life. Just give up to the Astros. Get the revenge out of the way. You got plenty of time. Trust me, the Yankees ain't going nowhere. Dodgers ain't going nowhere. Y'all gonna get another World Series somewhere in there. Frankie, I'm pretty sure at some point your piece of crap Yankees will. Nah, I'm kidding. Your Yankees will get in there. They'll get in there. They're gonna get back in there. So the Dodgers. I might be dead, but I'll come back reincarnated. But anyway, so again, Jonathan, to your credit, Astros, does it matter? I mean, does any of this matter? Going into it, what do you think?
Does the rematch matter?
No. I'm just saying, where we are currently, does that sweep? Does the fact that the Astros have owned the series? Here's a real question. Okay, here's a real question. No, Jonathan, I'm gonna pose this question because this is posted over Facebook, and I want to get your opinion on this. The unbiased, the unfiltered, the educated, the whole nine. There is a quote-unquote podcaster. I will not mention his name because I'm not that type of person. But there is a podcaster out in this world that has said that because the Yankees own the record on paper and the standings, they're at number 1, Astros are at number 3, Dodgers are at number 2. But he said, quote unquote, 2 things. Number 1, that Yankees couldn't be beat. And number 2, that the Yankees are the best team in baseball despite having been beat 5 out of 7 times by the Astros. What do you think?
You can never predict that because the regular season is a different animal. It's hard to really tell how things are going to go in October. You could try to base things on the regular season. I don't anymore because just because you have a better record than this team doesn't mean you're going to win the World Series. Vice versa. It's who gets hot at the right time. So what it comes down to is the team that gets hot at the right time. If a team is pitching well at the right time, all of that matters. You got to be opportunistic in October. And that's what really counts. So to say something like that, that's just completely asinine. It's ignorant and it's silly. It's utterly silly to say such a thing because you really don't know how it's going to go until October.
Right. So, and I'm going to ask you guys the same question, and then we'll move on to the next topic. This is the last question of that topic. So, I did some research. Now, this does not take into consideration the Negro Leagues, because the Negro Leagues, as you know, their records keeping was not all that great. I mean, honestly, we had to kind of piece together their records. They didn't really keep accurate records, so you really can't take that league into consideration when I reference baseball. We can only really kind of go by MLB because MLB kept a little bit better records. So I'm just going to use them as a reference point. But if you look at when baseball was founded, when MLB was founded, from when they were founded until current present day, 2022, only 12 teams that had the number one record, or they were number one in the record, actually won the World Series. 12 out of how many seasons has baseball around? What, over 100? So, again, this is not a knock on the Yankees, not a knock on the Astros, because who knows who's at the end of the season going to wind up in first. But I think to what I was trying to say, and John, you and Frankie, you tell me what you think. I don't really put a whole lot of value in number one seeding other than the fact that you get home field advantage. That really is the biggest. And like I said, Jonathan, of that 100% equation of, how it works, 50% of it is home field, in my opinion. So it is. I think it does matter, but again, 12 times. What do you think, Frankie? And then Jonathan, you wrap it up. Frankie's not there. We'll come back to Frankie. Jonathan.
I don't think you put a lot of value on seeding either, because again, seeding doesn't really matter. Again, it's the team that gets hot at the right time, and sometimes you just gotta get rolling. If your offense gets scoring and if your pitching is dominant, then you're an unstoppable force. You can't be beaten no matter where you play. So I don't think it matters too much like people make it out to be. Some people may want the number one seed so they can say, oh, my team's the best team. But at the end of the day, ultimately, what it comes down to is winning a World Series title. And we've seen in the past, in recent history, Jay, we've seen wild card teams like go on these Cinderella runs and win the World Series. And win the World Series. So, I mean, you could win the division. You could be the best in your division, and you could still lose to underdog team that no one saw coming.
I agree. I totally agree with you.
So I totally agree with you. Seeding doesn't matter. It's irrelevant at the end of the day. What's more important is getting hot at the right time and finding a level of consistency and keeping that sustainable throughout the month of October.
Oh, absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. I really honestly agree with that. Frankie, before we go to the next topic, are you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm hearing you guys. I'm here. Sorry if I'm not.
No worries. I just want to give you, before I went to the next topic, I was going to give you an opportunity to speak on kind of what we were talking about in terms of, how important is record, and Jonathan's talking about how important that, momentum is a little bit more important than the record. What's your thought process on that?
Yeah, I what happened? All right. Just like I said earlier, once October hits, like those records it's like wiped out. It really doesn't matter. I mean, like John said, and he makes a good point. If you got certain people out there who went a long time not having the first place spot, so they're celebrating being the best team in MLB, where other teams, for instance, like the Braves last year. They come in as a team that nobody even thought that was going to make it that far. Everybody thought they were going to be a first round elimination team, and they end up being the World Series champions. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter what your regular season looks like, and that's why I have calmed down a bit. If you guys have noticed, and Jay knows this for a fact, that earlier on in the season, I was more celebrating with as a Yankee fan as hard as I can be. And then he's seen that I had died down, and I said, "Listen, it's still early. I'm just celebrating while I can because I haven't seen us play this good. Second half didn't even hit yet. Anything could happen. So I celebrate when I can, but when the time is here to really focus, that's when I die down. And then right now I have died down because I'm more focused right now on October and not the second half. I already know we're gonna make it to the playoffs. I already know we're gonna win our division. What I'm focused on is October.
And the biggest thing for the Yankees, I hear them looking at Juan Soto. They've been mentioned, the few of the teams, in the Juan Soto trade. But quite honestly, if I'm a Yankees guy, I'm not worried about Juan Soto. No, I'm not going to do all that for Juan because Juan is going to ask way too damn much, and that's not really what my team needs. I've already got Judge. I've already got Hicks. I've got Stan. I'm okay. What I need right now, currently, I need pitching for crying out loud. I just lost Severino to the 15-day DL. I don't know if he's going to be healthy all the way into October. I just lost King to freaking elbow fractures and stuff. You guys, and I know you know that, Frankie. Your guys at the trade deadline have got to be looking at pitching to bring in another arm or another whatever to supplement what you guys have already lost currently from January or from the beginning of the season to now.
Well, Jay, every team can always use extra pitchers. I mean, we have pitchers that are in the AAA right now that look good. We had them play in the regular season, some of these games, and we sent them back down to AAA. It does suck that we lost Michael King for the year with a fractured elbow. And that really do suck. I hope for him for having a speedy recovery. But we have some good news. Zach Britton, who is coming back in September before playoffs, and that's something we need. Luis Severino, I'm not even worried about. If he's telling the world that he's not in bad shape or whatever, he's just more focused on staying healthy and don't want to ruin more of his arm strength, that's totally fine with me. Rest your 2 weeks. October's not here yet. That's when we need you the most. We have like I said, we got a real good, comfortable lead in our division, so there's no need for us to rush all of our players right back into the mound. Let them rest. Let the next guy step up. Like Jonathan Loaizaga, you're looking a little bit terrible after coming back from your IL. So you need to step it up a little bit these couple of games. You got Aroldis Chapman, who's not been looking like Aroldis Chapman anymore. He's looking like Father Time has caught up to him. So I don't know. I have been thinking lately that Aaron Boone might be throwing Aroldis Chapman out in the trade talks. Don't be surprised around that because Clay Holmes have taken over Aroldis Chapman's spot. So that you can always use extra pitchers, and I do agree with you, Jay. I wouldn't mind to have Juan Soto. Don't blame me. Like there's not one of us here that wouldn't say I don't want Juan Soto. Every single one of us would love to have a Juan Soto. But right now we don't need a Juan Soto, like you said. We have an Aaron Judge. We got a Giancarlo Stanton. We got an Aaron Hicks. We got all those people that can hit. What we do need right now is a pitcher and a strong closer. Not a full-on closer, maybe like a 7th inning, 8th inning closer, that type after losing Michael King. And like I said, Zach Britton coming back in September is huge news.
Closers are so short-lived. I never understood that one.
Because they're the ones that throw their arm. They're the ones that throw their arms the hardest, because they want their jobs is to actually get those outs.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Hey, let me just say this, Frankie. I think that Domingo is it Domingo German? I hope I said his last name right. German. I don't know, man. I don't think he was quite ready for that start, man. I think he needed either a couple more rehabs or he needed to come back in the bullpen and have a few, 1 or 2 innings here and there, and then get back in. I don't know. To me, when I saw him playing that game too, I don't know, man. I was not impressed with German, brother, or German, however you say his last name.
No, it was just a little warm up thing, Jay. We wanted to see what he got. We were already having Jameson Tyone pitch yesterday against the O's. We having Garrett Cole pitch today, and then we got nasty Nestor Cortez pitching on Sunday. So Aaron Boone didn't want a doubleheader when he has German come back off the IR. But let's just see what he has, and let's see if he's still got what he can do. But every pitcher always looks like that when they come back from a long break. This is a guy who was on injury literally since last year, mid last year, Jay. So he's had a really long injury, and he just came back. And the first team you come back is against a hot, heavy hitting Astros team. So I mean, you know, it's just a little warm up to see what he got.
Which is, you know, another thing, again, like Lance McCullers, you know, has been out forever. You know, when he does come back, I'm going to be curious. I'm going to be a little nervous on his first outing because I want to see, is he in the groove? Does he have command of his pitches? Does he have his velocity? You know, it's going to be a lot of things that I'll be nervous about as well, like you were with German. So, you know, we'll see. All right, brother man, we are going to move this show along a little bit. Let's see. We come back to that. Smart, Kirby Smart, now the highest paid college football coach. Jesus, did they pay this man? I mean, in terms of college coaches, you know, they pay him pretty good. You know, and I did the math on this. I don't know. I almost kind of felt like they had to pay him because, again, supply and demand, and, you know, Georgia wants to stay up there on top. So maybe I don't know if they overpaid, if they paid equivalency. I don't know. For me, I think like Kyler Murray, $230 million. I think Kyler Murray is extremely overpaid. We'll come back to that on another day. But in relationship to that, I feel like Smart, as great as that title run is, I think he got a little bit overpaid, and we'll talk about that. Just to kind of give you guys an idea, so you get a 10-year, $112.5 million, comes out to $11 million a year. Now, let's put that 11-year or that 10-year, $11 million a year in perspective. Lincoln Riley got $10 million a year, which I think Lincoln Riley, who has not gotten a national title, is another one that I think is overpaid. But then you look at a guy like Nick Saban, you know, who's getting $9.9 million. You know, so you figure 4 out of the 10 coaches that are the highest paid are SEC, which is fine because the SEC has 12 out of 15 titles. So I get that. But then you look at Brian Kelly from LSU at $9.5 million, Mel Tucker at Michigan State $9.5 million, Ryan Day, Ohio at $9.5 million, Jimbo Fisher at A&M $9 million, and then you got Dabo Swinney on a 15-year, let's see, Dabo Swinney. Did I write him down? I don't think I did write him down. I apologize. But I know Dabo Swinney is getting $8.5 million. I don't know the length of it. I take it back. He's getting $8.5 million in 2022, and he gets $9.5 million in 2023 through 2028. So again, Dabo's got, you know, with Clemson's got 2 titles.
Right.
And I think that's the best benchmark I would use to justify Kirby Smart at $11 million. I don't know how Kirby Smart is getting $11 million. And Dabo's getting 8.5, then 9.5. We'll go bottom to top this go around. Jonathan, am I crazy to think that they overpaid for Kirby?
No, you're not crazy at all. It is an overpay. No doubt about it. It's an outrageous price. But this is a man who built Georgia back into a national powerhouse. No question about it. And under Kirby Smart, Georgia football delivered its first national championship in 41 years. That's incredible stuff. So he has, you know, kind of, you know, changed the culture of Georgia football. He's done a terrific job recruiting some of the top players in the nation. He has some of the nation's best players at Georgia. And we all know Kirby Smart's specialty is defense. He has, you know, turned this team into a defensive power. You know, they are tremendous defensively. They're tough. They have some of the toughest players, you know, from all over the country that has come to Georgia, and they have just formed this unstoppable defense. And it's just amazing to see what Kirby Smart has accomplished. And also remember, this is a guy who comes from the Nick Saban coaching tree as well. So, I mean, you know, he's a premier name coach, you know, he's a high profile coach. Right. And so, but it is a bit of an overpay, but I'm not surprised that Georgia is giving him this much money because, you know, all the players that you recruit, and since you've been having top recruiting classes, those athletes are the driving force of the universe, of the university, you know, and college athletics, believe it or not, generates billions and billions of dollars for a university. So Kirby Smart plays a huge role in that, and that's why Georgia felt like it was time to pay the man.
And let's be honest, what this really comes down to is no different than Kyler Murray or even Lamar Jackson when Lamar Jackson finally, signs his contract. We've talked about this before, man. It's all about supply and demand.
Yep.
The demand for a high-level coach is extremely high, and the supply for a coach on the market that's better than Kirby is non-existent. So, and let me be honest, I live in the state of Georgia, and if they didn't put Kirby Smart under contract, they let Kirby Smart walk out of that, there's going to be bedlam in the state of Georgia, all over the place. I swear to God. There'll be burning of cars, police stations getting bombed. I mean, there's going to be better when Kirby Smart walks away from that post.
Right. And they know better. They know better to let him
walk. They definitely know better.
Because another school will, hire him in a heartbeat, and they will pay him that $11 million. No doubt about it. No questions asked.
Hey, when it comes to Georgia, like $11 million.
A big bag of money, and he would definitely secure that bag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I said, Georgia, I mean, they're diehard about their team, and if Kirby walks, bedlam.
Yeah, all those people down south, man, they love their football.
Speaking of college football, speaking of coaches like Saban and so forth, obviously everybody knows that the betting odds have the Crimson Tide picked to win the SEC. Bryce Young is still there. 19 All-Americans or whatever are still on that team. So their team is still stacked. Stetson Bennett is still with Georgia. They're going to be there. They got Georgia and Alabama, and the SEC championship game. They always have Alabama win the SEC championship. I don't know, man. What do you think, man? What's your opinion on that? Does Nick Saban bounce back from last year and defeat Kirby?
I mean, he could. Look, it's one of the most talented teams in the nation. Alabama is the runaway favorite for a reason. They're a runaway favorite to win the SEC football title for a third consecutive season. And the Crimson Tide, they received 158 of 181 votes to win the conference title. Georgia was the next closest with 18 votes. And then, of course, you got South Carolina receiving 3 votes. But look, Alabama led all teams with 19 preseason all SEC selections. They got Bryce Young coming back. Bryce Young is just an amazing, gifted quarterback. We all know what he can do. He's a dual threat quarterback. He can hurt you in so many ways because he has the athleticism, he has the agility, he has the speed, and he has the playmakers around him as well. So
absolutely.
I mean, I can definitely see Alabama getting their revenge next season. And I mean, Young, who threw 47 touchdowns last season, is the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Then you have Anderson, who led the country in sacks and tackles for loss with 34.5 and won an award because of his defensive effort on the field. So, I mean, Alabama, yes, you can say that they are favorites to win. I don't see why not. Georgia, yes, Georgia has a awesome defense. We all know that. They have a fearsome defense, no question about it. But just because Georgia won last year doesn't mean all of a sudden Alabama just disappears and all of a sudden they're nowhere to be found. No, it doesn't work like that. They're still going to compete at a high level against a very good Georgia Bulldog team.
And let's just be honest. It's just last year that Georgia team, was extremely talented at a lot of different positions. And even though I feel like Bryce Young probably is, we all know Bryce Young is a better quarterback over Stetson Bennett, Bennett didn't have to be Superman. He just had to work within that offense, within that system, and within that team, and let the defense do their job. And they're good. And I think when you strip away some of that team, like obviously they did, and then now maybe more onus is put on Stetson. Whereas you look at Bryce Young, like I said, they got 19 all SEC players on their team, first and second team. I mean, he's not under as much, and he is more talented than Stetson. And I think that's why, under the tutorship of Nick Saban, I think that Alabama does hold that advantage over them.
Yeah. At the quarterback position, they do hold the advantage because Bryce Young is skilled, and he's a bright young man as well. I'm not saying Bennett isn't, because we saw what Bennett did. He had his little storybook season and his storybook ending to the season, which was just a wonderful story. I remember writing that excellent column about it. But Bryce Young, man, he comes with the complete package, and you can't take that away from the kid. Also, you got to remember too who coaches Nick Saban. Hello, Nick Saban prepares his players for these moments. I know they lost last season, but he always finds a way to make sure his teams are put in the best position to try to win the games. And that's what I like about Nick Saban, because of his preparation, his strategies, and his coaching philosophy, which has been a testament to Alabama's greatness in recent memory.
No, I totally agree with you. And it's going to be interesting. December 3rd is the SEC conference date. So put that on your calendars, folks. It's going to be a good day, as always, leading up to Christmas. Who doesn't want to see a good SEC championship leading up to Christmas? Does the NIL and the transfer portal give smaller D1 schools a fighting chance? And I think the prime example of that is Jackson State, with them there. And maybe the smaller teams like, I don't know who else, maybe like a U of H or somebody like that, does it help these guys out, a lot? And I think it does. I think Nick Saban really exemplified that in a lot of conversations with Jimbo Fisher because of it. I think, Nick Saban, his greatest gift is the ability to go into a room full of parents, kids, whatever, and he can get them to buy whatever it is there is. But when you throw money at somebody, I mean, it really does change a lot of things. And I think that the money that's out there through boosters and other programs, and especially because of the transfer portal now being like free agency, I think it makes it a lot harder on a Saban because, now he's got to compete with money plus, this. So not that Nick Saban's going to go down the tubes, but I think you can see it on his face that he doesn't like the NIL, and especially the way the NIL is structured. But I don't care how you structure the NIL. I don't care how you structure it. If money is able to be given to a player legally, you going to tell me a booster can't figure out a way to funnel clean money to a player? Come on now. I don't care how you try to struggle it. That's like trying to say, okay, I'm going to take away the guns from America and we're safe. No.
Right.
No. Everyone knows that's not true.
A sick person will find other ways to commit crime.
Trust me. As long as you're able to legally give money to a player, you can funnel things a million different ways and never get caught.
Yep.
So, again, Jonathan, what do you think about this, man? I mean, and I got to be honest with you, Jonathan, I'm going to tell you now, I'm a big proponent of NIL. I'm a big proponent of transfer portal because of the fact I think it helps the smaller D1s compete with some of the bigger schools. You know what I mean?
Well, it levels the playing field.
It does.
It levels the playing field, and we all heard that famous saying, right? Money talks, BS walks.
That's right.
That's right. So, I mean, this NIL stuff is going to help a lot of schools in a big way. And it creates more opportunities for the smaller schools. It gives them a chance to make themselves relevant. It gives them a chance to get some of the nation's best players and gives them the opportunity to compete at such a higher level. So I like the idea. And now you see why Nick Saban was so critical of the idea and why he's shooting it down, because he knows that Alabama, that things are just not going to be the same for his Crimson Tide. Even though he knows he could, lure some of the best talent in the nation still. He knows that some of that talent is not going to commit to playing at Alabama because they know that they could stay closer to home, maybe, that they could go to smaller universities like a Jackson State where Deion Sanders is coaching, or they could go to another school that we never even heard of and still have a chance to win or get that or earn that scholarship and play football, and there's a lot of money in this. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. At the end of the day, Jay, college football is nothing more than a business. It's
all a business. It's been a business for years. And
but the fans are blinded by that. A lot of fans are blinded by it, and they have some ignorance because they see it as a game. But the people that work in the university, the administrators, and the head honchos of the NCAA, they see it as nothing more than just a business.
Right. And I don't want to take this out of context, but in a metaphorical, I guess, type of sense, let's be honest. Before NIL, students were slaves and the master was the university. Straight up. Because a player goes out, let's say he has a career-ending injury, whatever it may be. Now, yes, they could get insurance. I get that. But maybe not everybody can afford insurance. Maybe they don't have the economic means to afford the insurance. But a guy goes out and gets hurt, career ender. We're going to take away his scholarship, one. And then number two, they're not paying his medical bills. That student's still got to pay them damn medical bills. So,
and that's another good point because it could hurt their draft stock, right? We saw what happened.
There's a multitude of things that get hurt.
Right, and we saw what happened to Matt Corral, right? That was a huge blow to him when he went down in the where they playing in the Fiesta Bowl, Ole Miss, where he suffered that injury, that leg injury, or I think it was a leg injury, and that kind of stuff can hurt your draft stock, So I can see why these players are taking advantage of this. This is another way for schools to gain profit. In the long run, it works.
And here's the thing, Jonathan. This is why I really love the NIL. And really even the transfer portal, because what if you're not get used enough at that university? Well, you're hurting your draft stock. So it's good to have that one time, penalty free. Okay, I can go here and maybe then, because here's the deal, Jonathan. Not everybody in this world is cut out for college. It is a fact that, I'll be honest, I'm one of those people. I'll be honest, I went to 1 year of college. I didn't do bad, but I just had a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't like it. I just knew I was not good at it. I didn't like college. I hated college. Wasn't good at it, whatever. So I went in the military. I found my niche, and I went about my life, and, things turned out fine. But, I feel like if a kid comes out from wherever and they get a scholarship to go play football, let's say a lower economic area, comes out and says, you know what, I'm really freaking good at football. Like, I'm talented. Like, I've got NFL talent. That's my gig. But I suck at school, or I hate school, or I don't have parents that are invested enough in me to make sure I'm successful in school. This may be their only way to get out of that environment to a better environment and get jobs or get financial stability. As much as I hate to say it, that's sometimes it's just the case. And so if a student is going to come into that environment, we need to be paid. Look, if you're good enough to get drafted and scholarships and you're good enough to get NIL money, give them let them be in control of their image, likeness, all that. Because it doesn't belong to a freaking university.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what if they do get injured in college? Then that NIL money should be enough if they have, somebody in their ear to help them financially plan, which I don't know if they're all going to have that.
Right.
At the same time.
Right. That one injury could just doom their career. It could come down to a season-ending injury or a career threatening injury, and you're done. Right. And you lose out on so much money, and it's just unfortunate for the player.
I just feel like, look, man, we're a free country. Not only in a free country, but we're in a capitalistic country.
Right.
And one thing I love about capitalism is Everybody can make money if you just have a good idea or you have your rights to your name, image, and likeness, like an athlete for that example, right? So give these guys their due. Give them what they're owed. And that's why I really like the NIL. And I really, a lot of people are going to say negative things about the NIL transfer portal, but at the same time, hey, if you're in college ball and you're putting your stuff out there for the university, then the universities take care of you. They take care of you to the NIL. Enough said on that. So, Nick Saban, hey, eat a tough one, baby. Jackson State's coming up.
Especially when you got a guy by the name of Deion Sanders.
Oh, man. Is there any better recruiter to go up against Nick Saban than Deion Sanders? I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Especially if you're trying to go to the pro level. Who knows the pro level better than Deion?
Exactly.
It is what it is, man.
Nick Saban tried out for the pro level and he ran away.
Nick Saban. Great in college. Terrible at Miami. Whatever.
Yes.
All right. Hey, here's the last topic of the evening, folks. We're going to talk about these Patriots. And Bill Belichick is going away from the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator this season. First of all, he's just getting rid of the titles. Them coordinator's still there. I don't care what you say. Nick Saban ain't calling every damn thing. He does have a little more, control. The last time he did this, in fact, was 2010 with Brady. They went 14-2, but they lost to the Jets in the AFC round. So I guess 2010 wasn't so good for Belichick. Maybe he thinks he can get better this go around. But it looks like Patricia and Judge are back, obviously. And they're going from the head coaching positions to, it looks like Judge is going to be the QB coach and the offensive assistant, and Patricia is going to be your senior football advisor and the O-line coach. So, again, even though that's their quote-unquote, titles, don't think that Patricia and Judge aren't, right there with Belichick, calling some plays. And honestly, don't forget about Evan Roethlisberger. I guess he plans to be a bigger part of the offense with Judge. But it looks like, I guess in his current, power structure, Belichick is going to be your GM, your head coach, and your game plan manager.
That's a lot of job titles.
Hey, Jonathan, I don't know about you, and this is where I really want to see what you think about this. He can say he's the game plan manager, and I'm sure he'll have the final say-so, just like Andy Reid does the little final say-sos there in Kansas City. Judge and Patricia will be giving their inputs on that play call to some extent.
No doubt about it, but this is how much power that Bill Belichick has, because Robert Kraft has given him that much power. He has empowered him to be all of these things, right? The general manager, the coach, the play caller, the team executive. He has empowered him to, make the personnel decisions and have full control of the franchise. Does that mean it works? Not necessarily. Yes, we all know the history behind Bill Belichick. But to me, Bill Belichick, he's been prideful, Yeah, and sometimes you have too much pride before you take a fall. You have a lot of pride in yourself, and then suddenly you take a fall and you realize that you need a good offensive coordinator and you need a good defensive coordinator to help you with play calling, Right. But Bill Belichick obviously has a lot of confidence in himself. He's betting on himself that he can, call the plays, that he could come up with some great schemes, that he can, come up with some great strategies, and he's betting on himself here, Right. But I'm with you, Jay. I don't think he's going to be working alone. He's not the man that's going to be working alone. He has help with Patricia, and he has help with Judge. Don't let that fool you. Don't let that fool you, because Bill Belichick will be lying if he says he's doing all the play calling. I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, brother, man. I really am. And again, I'm not gonna be the one that says, "Hey, Bill Belichick, you can do this, you can't." Look, Bill done got me 6 rings with Tom Brady's help, but again, right. I want to point out, folks, that he ain't got Brady no more. He got Mac Jones. And this is no knock on Mac Jones, but Mac Jones ain't Tom Brady. So everything that worked in the past for Bill, is pretty much obsolete because he don't have that quarterback anymore. He got Mac Jones. So it's gonna be interesting, Jonathan, to see how this new organizational chart thing that Bill is doing, how it's gonna work out for him. But again, I'm not gonna doubt Bill. Bill's led me to how many Super Bowls with Tom and this, that, and the other. So we'll see what happens. Hey guys, listen, we're at the end of the program. Okay? And looks like right now the Dodgers are up 2-0 over San Francisco, top of the sixth, 2 outs.
Yep.
San Francisco is up. Jonathan Mathis, we are at the final thoughts. What are your final thoughts, sir?
I want the Dodgers to get another victory. That's my final thoughts. Jay, thanks for having me on, man. It was a pleasure. I had a blast. I always have a blast. I think we feed off of each other's energy. We definitely both have a passion for this. And again, you put on a great show, but without you, none of this is possible. So I want to thank you for having me on the show. And I want to tell our viewers out there in our audience to please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Jay knows where I'm at. He could share the link maybe, but you can find me on YouTube, Jonathan Mathis. I'm a cartoon character. You'll see me. And you can also follow my fan page. I know Jay knows about that too, on Facebook, The Sports Judge. So don't forget to like and follow. And you can also follow me on Instagram, Sports Judge 85. You can follow me on Twitter, Sports Judge 85. Same thing.
Yes, I will tell you, Jonathan, your ass has a spot on this show any damn time you want to come on, because again, I love your energy as well. And no, I don't want to leave this side. I love when I click things without meaning to click things. It's my curse of not being good with computers, Jonathan. But no, man. Hey, look, this dude is highly intelligent. He writes hellified good columns. And I appreciate it every time he comes on this damn show. It's always good to have you, Jonathan. And you will not be a stranger. You will be on here quite often, every now and again, when I can get you, when your time is flexible, because you, my friend, are getting ready to start your career back up, as my wife is as well. And I fully understand what that entails as a teacher. My final thoughts are simply this, guys. Number one, Congress, Board of Education, hey, pay these damn teachers, man. It's really pissing me off. My wife's a teacher, so I know what she makes in Georgia. I don't know what the California out there is for you, Jonathan. I don't know what you guys are getting, but I know what she's getting here. I know what she's getting here in Georgia, and honestly, it makes me sick. Given the amount of hours, that she puts in per week, and then what she's getting paid because she's a quote-unquote salary position. Look, folks, we are putting our monies in the wrong things in this country. I love my country. I would defend it to the dying death, but I also have the right to critique what we're doing with our money. And if I'm appealing to the Board of Education, if I'm appealing to Congress, and hell, if I'm going over to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, we really need to revisit what we're paying our first responders and what we're paying our teachers, because that is, number one, the fabric, the backbone, and the future of this country.
I agree totally. And teaching is also the only profession that you take your job home.
God, yes. God, yes. Because my wife, and I know you do the same thing, my wife gets emails from parents and administrators and principals at all hours and crazy hours. I mean, she's constantly, always getting emails. So they really do take that job home with them. And again, if we're not investing in our backbone, how do we expect to go forward as, a great, powerful nation if we're not putting the money back in our infrastructure? And teaching is a big part of the infrastructure.
It's our foundation.
Brother, man, more than I know, man. I'm telling you, again, Jonathan Mathis, God, what a time to be alive. To have Jonathan Mathis on the show talking some baseball and some football, man. Hey, the only time I had Jonathan is when he's talking Lakers. Then we kind of go left and we go right. It's all good. Benny Henderson does the same thing, but I love them all. Look, man, I love everybody. Frankie talks Lakers, whatever. I'm a Rockets guy, so I'm I'm just struggling in misery. It is what it is. I relive my Olajuwon days on a daily basis. Miss Olajuwon. You know, it's weird, John. I'm going to close it out with this. You know, it's amazing. The Rockets drafted Olajuwon at 1, and we did get titles. I love Olajuwon. He's a fabric and all that. It's just weird. It's like you draft Olajuwon, and Michael Jordan is in your same draft class, and you're just like, damn. Like, the Rockets didn't screw up, but damn. I'm just saying. It is what it is, man. What are you going to do, man? Always a bridesmaid, never the bride. Hey, man, listen. We are out of here again. 2 things. Again, contact your local, make sure when local elections are out for your governors, mayors, city officials, board of elections, anything that has to do with your local government, make sure you're out there voting.
That's very
Federal
important.
Don't mean shit. Federal don't mean shit.
That's very important because out here we're trying to get the sheriff out. Sheriff Villanueva, he is terrible. Crimes have gone up, and we're trying to get him out. He's got.
I'm telling you, man. Hey, listen. The federal government, yes, does have some say so, but there's the biggest effect on your life is at the local level.
And a lot of people don't realize that. You're really right. You're right. Absolutely.
Bro, it's at the local level. So again, teachers, first responders, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, local and state officials, wherever you are, pay these people more damn money. Number 1. Number 2, get involved in your local elections and make sure you're voting for your local elections because that is what affects your life or your livelihood.
Right.
Again, Thursday. What is today? Today's Tuesday. Is today Saturday?
Today's Saturday.
Tuesday. God, man, I'm losing track of my life. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We will see you guys there. Until next time, thanks for Jonathan coming on the show. It's your boy Jay Mclovin, Frankie the Yankee, Mickey Delaney. I hate you. You're Seattle Mariners. I don't care. Damian Hernandez, you got the worst takes ever. It's all good. And Daniel Ball, I love you, man. I agree with what you said. And until next time, we are out of here.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making a place. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're hiding the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the air, we're taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.